Hi everyone, it's us again. Welcome to my YouTube channel. I'm Jenya Romanova, the creator of the educational platform UpDaily. And today we came up with an amazing idea. Instead of discussing topics that concern me and happen to me, we'll talk about the topics that matter to you. And right now, behind the scenes is Lena, thanks to whom this YouTube channel exists. Lena, thank you so much for making this YouTube channel possible. I want to tell you this right now because it exists only thanks to you. Literally, today's filming was only possible because of your responsible approach. And thank you for the question. So, thanks to Lena asking a question that matters to her, the idea came up that you can come to our shoots and we'll discuss the things that matter to you. If you like this idea and you live in Los Angeles, be sure to leave a comment under this video. We will get in touch with you. And Lena asked me what to do if everything in life is going well, but there's no happiness. The most amazing thing is that happiness and joy, they are energy. And with your mind, you might think that overall, everything is fine. So you might be wondering, how can I truly begin to understand this? Well, it's really because I tend to compare it directly to my own age and experiences, to what, in theory, I should have already accomplished or what I should have managed to achieve by my age. But there's simply no real energy in it, and there's absolutely no joy in it at all. And honestly, that's a truly great question you really need to ask yourself. I can only share my own personal story, the one that actually happened to me, from my own experience. I was about 30 years old. I was driving my beautiful, shiny car, slowly making my way home from this absolutely wonderful, incredibly fulfilling job where my beloved, caring husband was patiently waiting for me. And at that very moment, I remember passing by my parents' house and I suddenly started crying really, really hard because I realized one simple, undeniable, deeply personal thing. I have a wonderful, enviable life, but it's not truly mine. I don't want it, not at all. And only one question came to my mind. How do I get out of here? What will I possibly tell my mom? Back then, the scariest thing was to tell my mom that everything I thought about this life, everything I imagined about success, happiness, and joy, is absolutely not true for me. It doesn't work for me. And I don't know what does work. And at that time, I would look into the eyes of my loved ones, my friends, my colleagues, and I wondered, are you all lying to me? Or are you really okay? Are you truly happy? I fell into a very deep depression, but literally a year later, my life changed dramatically. I changed it. It didn't change on its own, but rather I made this choice intentionally because I truly believed in my heart that it was the right thing to do. Over time, I realized that I don't want to live in a picture-perfect world where everything seems fine, but there's no happiness. Because happiness is the only thing that makes life worth living. But unfortunately, there isn't a single recipe for happiness. No situation you can repeat every day, minute by minute, and get happiness from it. Happiness isn't given out by prescription. Happiness doesn't work like clockwork. You have to seek it out. And I think that's the most enjoyable work. Seeking out your own happiness, finding your own joy, and pursuing it. And it's a very brave path, because most of the time it sounds like, go there, I don't know where, and bring back something, I don't know what. Let's imagine that we've come to the movies and at the very beginning, we're told how the film will end. Will it be just as captivating and truly interesting to watch for you as a viewer if you already know exactly how it ends? I can say that everything is fine, but if there's no real sense of joy or happiness present, then that's a situation where you're actually deceiving yourself, even if you try to convince yourself otherwise. Because when everything is truly fine in your life, that genuine sense of well-being is naturally reflected in your feelings of joy and contentment. All that's left is to understand, where is my joy? Start looking for it, observe yourself. In that case, I would simply take a notebook and observe myself every day. I would just write things down in the notebook without discussing it with anyone. What brings me joy and what brings me nothing? This is quite a bold observation because you might discover a very simple truth. Everything that is in your life right now is something you wanted a long time ago, but that's no longer who you are. The most painful part of this situation is saying goodbye, not to something real or tangible, but directly to the persistent illusion, the deeply held belief that what brings joy and happiness to others in your life will also, in the same way, bring it to you as well. None of us know. Once I heard a saying that I could not understand: what is good for a Russian is death for a German. I didn't understand what that meant. How is it possible that something is good for one person, but for another it's deadly? That's just nonsense. But now I understand it very well, because what is true happiness and joy for one person can be absolute hell for another, and here the answer can only be only yours. But you'll have to put in the work. 21 days or 14, it doesn't matter how many. Simply write it out by hand, carefully, in a notebook. Oh, everything that brings you joy and everything that doesn't bring you joy. Divide the sheets into 2 halves and write down everything that makes you happy and everything that doesn't. And then the most interesting part will begin. Everything that doesn't bring you joy, eliminate it. I suggest this experiment. You know, when someone calls you on the phone, even before you actually pick up the phone to answer, you either smile or pause for a moment, maybe even hesitate. And you always somehow already know what your reaction will be before you answer the call. Sometimes you answer just because you feel like you have to, even if you might not really want to, but you do it anyway. Usually, if your accountant or tax consultant is calling you, or even worse, your lawyer. Sometimes you feel like you have to answer if your mom is calling, even if you don't really feel like talking right now. And sometimes, quite unexpectedly, your friend calls you and you genuinely feel a sense of relief wash over you, realizing that this might actually be the most enjoyable, uplifting, and fun conversation you'll have throughout the entire day. But after you discover what doesn't bring you joy, find the courage to let it go and let something that truly makes you happy. Right now, you might not even know what that is, but it's worth it.